up on the beach.
There we go. Thanks for that, Pete. Okay, we're live. This is the Lovecraft podcast. Thank you, Pete. July the 2nd, 2017. Pete is not taking anything seriously today. That's okay, though. We don't have a guest today. We didn't even know if we were doing a show today, but we decided, since we're all apparently in town for the holiday, we would do at least a short show and talk about whatever, NecronomiCon, things like that. Matt, you have a cool prize.
Yes, I do. We tried to give this away ages ago, and no one ever signed up for it. It's a copy of Lovecraft's Legacy. This is an anthology edited by Martin Greenberg and Robert Weinberg. It came out, God, I can't even think, 1990.
Yeah, 30 years ago.
This is an old book. Back then, these stories were not really available anywhere else. Now a lot of them have been reprinted. But still, it's got some really nice stuff in it. Things that I had never seen before when I read it, including Brian Lumley's story that I really liked called Big C.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's set in a town not far from where I live.
So, very nice book available to some lucky viewer.
Okay, I'm going to do something a little bit different today because I've got a prize too. So with Matt's prize, Lovecraft's Legacy, I'm really curious how people. I know about 10% of the audience actually watches this podcast. Everybody else listens to it, on iTunes or in other places on the go, which is it's easy to see why. You can listen to it while you're commuting, that type of thing. Or maybe in bed as you're falling asleep. I don't know, and I'm actually curious. So send an email to lovecraftezineprizes@gmail.com. Put Lovecraft's Legacy in the subject, and in the body of the email, tell me how you listen to the podcast, because I'm really curious, and I'll randomly select a winner from everybody who emails. Again, that's lovecraftezineprizes@gmail.com. Put Lovecraft's Legacy in the subject, and in the body of the email, tell me how you listen to the podcast. Now, from David Del Cole, thanks again, David. I've got Whispers from the Abyss 2. Yeah, an obviously a Lovecraftian anthology, and I'll give instructions on that a little bit later on how to win that. So, Pete and or Rick, you guys just want to take 30 seconds or 60 seconds and describe what we talked about on the second Patreon podcast the other night? Just for those who are out there thinking about becoming a Patreon, this is one of the things you're missing if you're not one. It was very illuminating. It's pretty cool.
Well, you got a fascinating talk from Pete Rawlik about the cult of Sabel, I think is how you pronounce it.
Yeah, I think so.
From Rats in the Wall.
Right.
You learn more things about self-mutilation than you ever wanted to.
And we got a great talk from Rick on, oh my God, it's so complex, but sort of these linkages between stories and between node ends and Neptune and node ends and Cthulhu.
At one point, Rick goes, and just to avoid confusion, me and Pete are like, too late. It's so intricate.
The thing is that when you do this stuff, you really have to have all your footnotes and links. It helps to have it all in writing so you can go back and read it again. And trying to talk about it without, say, a blackboard or some other thing is really difficult. But I think Rick did a really good job.
Well, you both did. Yeah.
It's something I didn't really want to look into, but now I'm fascinated by it because I think Rick makes some really good points. And I hope he writes the article because
you're going to get an article on this.
All right.
So far, I'm sorry, Rick.
Go ahead. Basically, if you only know Nodens from August Derleth saying he's an elder god, that's totally wrong.
Okay.
There's more.
Much more.
Yeah. So far, we've got 2 Patreon nonfiction podcasts, let's call them. That was the second one. And we've got 2 fiction podcasts. In other words, Lovecraftian Tales stories. And these are all Patreon only podcasts. Just Google. Well, I've got the Patreon link in the description, either on YouTube, if you're watching it, or in the podcast description if you're listening to it, or you can just Google Lovecraft eZine Patreons. Let's do introductions. Let's start with Rick and work our way over.
Rick Lay, writer who has resigned from the secret society of bearded men.
Oh.
Pete.
Pete Rawlick. Apparently single dad this weekend. No, just kidding. Apparently I can smoke meat now. Things I thought I would.
We're not going there.
There you go.
I saw that photo. Yeah. Matt.
You roll it up and light it like a cigar, or?
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Matt Carpenter. I'm not smoking, but I have a flank steak marinating with a nice Vietnamese marinade that we will have with a cucumber salad with radishes. After I hang up on you guys.
Suddenly I'm hungry. After I hang up on you guys. Okay. Kelly.
I'm Kelly Young. I am the executive editor of Strange Eons magazine. Available now, issue 21.
Where's my copy, bitch?
Right.
It'll be coming. It'll be coming.
Right. That's the latest issue. How do people buy that?
You can go to www.strange-eons.com, and as soon as you go there, it's the first link on the page, and then you can catch all of the other issues there as well.
And remember, in the URL, eons is spelled with an A, A-E-O-N-S.
Correct. Thank you.
Strange-eons.com. Okay, Joe.
I am Joe Polar, writer, editor, mayor of Carcosa.
Okay, and we've got a new panelist with us today for this show, Evan.
Yep. My name's Evan Senna, Petty Officer, United States Navy. Longtime fan. Been listening to this since I think it started, to be honest. And reading the eZine, there were some underways on the ship and stuff where there was like nothing to do, and or nights where I read specifically. I remember reading the King in Yellow issue, which was really good and stuff like that. But just a long time fan. Yeah, I didn't.
That's
I haven't.
great news.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that it helped pass some time.
Oh, I definitely passed some time.
Yeah, I'm glad you liked that issue, considering I edited that one.
Yeah, it was really good. When I actually got hurt overseas while I was in Japan, and there was about a year and I'd say a half where I was on shore duty, where because of internet limitations, I would say, I pretty much had this podcast, the video podcast, Gilbert Gottfried's podcast, and like Joe Rogan's something, and that's all I would watch. So I looked forward to what would be my Monday every week to this podcast. So it was really therapeutic. Got me through some very I wouldn't say depressing times, but being hurt and stuff, it got me through some stuff. So it's just I guess the honor to be here, to be honest.
That means
We're
a lot.
glad we could help.
Yeah, I really appreciate
This is going to change the banner of the Lovecraft eZine to say we're as big as Gilbert Godfrey.
We're on that same level as Gilbert Godfrey.
Man, we
on the same
rock.
level, that's for sure. Hey, Evan, that means a lot. Thank you for telling me that.
No problem.
Glad to hear that it got you through some low times.
Yeah, when I saw the Patreon and stuff, I was all like, it's the least I could do for like all the stuff. And to be honest, I have learned so much from this podcast. Stuff that, I find myself to be very inquisitive myself and sometimes getting in too dark of areas. But I've learned so much from this podcast, just from either the guests, but mainly just from you all having a banter, which I love. I actually love these shows where there's not a guest more than I do with the guests, because I find them more just
because we don't behave as much.
Yeah, that too, and they're just so informational. I really enjoy them, to be honest.
Well, thanks.
I have a question for Evan. I see you wearing a Universal Monster T-shirt.
Yes. I'm a big, to be honest, like my avatar is always the Invisible Man. That's my favorite. The first one, Claude Rains, is my favorite movie I think of all time. To be honest, I just love it.
Rains. There you go.
The other ones with like Vincent Price and stuff, they're all right, and where it's kind of a good character. But I like him when he's its most insane. And I grew up watching older movies and stuff. My parents were very I don't want to say the word strict because it was kind of different what they were strict on. Like they didn't like MTV and stuff, but they let me watch horror films like slasher films or whatever. It's kind of a weird. It was a weird deal. But I watched. I always tell people I'm a 30-year-old or 31-year-old man with the mind of a 70-year-old person. Because to be honest, I was kind of a latchkey kid. And I was raised by, babysitters and great grandparents. So I got to watch a lot of older stuff and had like this older point of view at a very early age. And the Universal films were just, in my opinion, they're just so much better than most of them. I love the Hammer ones too, but the older ones just have this atmosphere that's just, it just seems that they can't do it these days. And I know they try with the recent Mummy and stuff, which was horrible. But I really like the Universal films. They're definitely classics. And I don't know a lot of people my age that watch them though, but I definitely enjoy them myself though.
So I just watched with my girls this past weekend. We watched Creature from the Black Lagoon, and my girls are 7 and 9. So
Yowza.
Yeah,
Good movie.
Yeah, great movie. And as a sort of plug, Mallory O'Mara. We all know Mallory, right?
Yep.
Right. She's coming out with a book at the end of next year about the woman who designed the creature.
Oh, really?
Yeah, apparently, no one's ever done any biography on her, and Mallory has spent the time to do it. And it's the only monster designed by a woman.
And,
Oh, really?
And just as an aside, since some of us, see, Joe and I are guys who came into Universal Horror, and the gateway movie was Abbott and Costello meets Frankenstein.
That's a good.
Absolutely. Rick is 110% right.
There was a television routine where Abbott and Costello meet the creature from the Black Lagoon.
Yes, there is.
And I don't know if it's still on YouTube, but that's where I found it. So if you're,
I think it's still there. I have a disc, I think, with it on it. They put out all the Abbott and Costellos.
Yeah, all 4 are on a DVD set. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Now I have a question for Evan.
Yes.
You started with this T-shirt. Does it have a Phantom of the Opera on it?
Oh, does this one? No, this one does not have the Phantom of the Opera, but it's glow in the dark, so maybe that.
Oh, okay, all right.
Maybe that'll make up for it.
Yeah, Evan's here because he's a Patreon member, so there is a tier where you can be on the show. Kelly Young, how did you like The Mist?
Oh boy, are we gonna dive right into The Mist?
Yeah, let's dive right into The Mist.
Has everybody on the panel watched it, or are they interested in it?
I'm not going to, based on your recommendation.
I have not, but I'm totally not against spoilers. So.
Yeah, go ahead, spoil it.
I mean, because I'm going to watch it regardless of what you say, you know.
Okay, well, spoilers. It's bad. It's really fucking bad. So if you were hoping to be surprised by how bad it is, I just let the cat out of the bag. The acting is really bad. The dialogue is terrible. I'm really bummed because I was championing this, and I thought that I am not against remakes or reboots or anything like that, because I've always felt like if I love the original, it's still there. And if they're going to do something different, then I'm totally on board to giving someone a chance to impress me. But man, I also suppose it depends on whether you enjoyed Under the Dome. because it feels very much like Under the Dome, and man, I hated that.
Couldn't get into it.
Let us know how you really feel.
I just thought it was trash, and I'm really bummed about this. The fog, the mist, is CGI mist. So they're walking through this, and it's basically a digital overlay over the image of them walking. You don't get any of the mist eddying around them and moving while they walk. And you're just like, what is going on here? You couldn't afford a fog machine?
We're what, almost 100 years after Vampire, and we can't get mist right? We got a CGI? Oh, man.
Yeah, so I gave it 3 episodes, which is 2 episodes than most of the other people I spoke to before I said I'm done.
But this, you're saying, if I'm hearing you right, this has nothing to do with the fact that it's a remake. In other words, you're not comparing it in your mind to the movie. You're just saying it just sucks regardless.
Yeah, I mean, I really did love the movie, and I did love the short story. The movie has its differences from the story even, and I didn't have a problem with that because they were 2 different things. This is another different thing, and if it was a good different thing, I'd be telling you guys how great it is, but it is not.
On another note, what was your reaction to last week's Twin Peaks? Was it, my God, what is he doing?
Well, at the risk of offending my fiction editor who is loving this season, I'm scratching my head still, kind of wondering when this is going to take off.
Yeah. I couldn't get past the first episode. I watched the first episode, and then I thought, if I'm forcing myself to watch episode 2, then I'm not going to do it.
Well, I was a huge Lynch fan in the early days. I got a chance to meet him during the Inland Empire tour he did, and he came to Seattle, and I realized then that this was an insane person making films, and that is interesting in itself, but he is legitimately crazy. He's not doing this stuff hoping you'll go, wow, that's weird. This is just what's going on in his head. He's a nut job.
Well, what was funny, the week previously, we finally got an episode where it seemed everything started to begin to come together. And then we got something which I'm gonna spoil it if you haven't seen it.
Okay, wait, give it a second so people can turn off if they need to.
It looks like the atomic bomb let something Lovecraftian into the universe that gave birth to Bob.
Now that was cool, right?
It was fun to watch, but I'm wondering what the heck the plot is. And I'll say one.
Yeah, it makes no sense, and I'm going to stick through it just because I did love Twin Peaks. Even the second season had some pretty high highs in it, although it had some pretty low lows also. So I'll keep watching this and hope for the best, but it's a chore.
And just, if you have not seen the movie Fire Walk With Me, there's a lot you're not understanding in this new season.
That's true, and you should see it anyway, because I think Fire Walk With Me is a brilliant horror film. I think it's got some really scary scenes in it.
Yeah, for instance, the strange woodmen with beards are from that film. If you were wondering who the heck are these guys, you didn't remember them from the original series.
Right.
So you're taking one for the team and watching this and forcing yourself to watch this, Kelly.
No, I don't feel that way. I mean, there are still, even in moments or even in episodes where I'm scratching my head most of the time, there are moments of brilliance, because I do think that Lynch, because he's legitimately insane, he's tapping into something that sane people do not. And that is interesting to watch, I think. If you're from my background, which is film school, and a film school that really focused on story structure and stuff like that, it's just a bit difficult, because you're like, I'd sure like to see something that made any kind of sense in pushing this story forward.
But you're talking about an American film school.
This is true.
Look at how much European film, brilliant film, that does not follow the 1, 2, 3 method.
Maybe your problem is you weren't high when you were watching it, Kelly.
You don't know that.
There's nothing wrong.
I
There's
assumed you were
nothing
drunk, not
wrong.
high.
There's nothing wrong with having an LSD flashback when you're in the middle of a little lynch. I think it's a good thing.
Joe, I have a feeling because I know you are a fan of Inland Empire, and I could barely
I
stomach
am an
it.
Inland Empire freak.
So you will most likely enjoy this series.
I will when I get a chance to see it. Everything I'm hearing, even though I'm trying to avoid it, it's unavoidable. I'm like, sounds like I'll have a Woody for 8 episodes or whatever.
Oh, he went there. Oh, Lord.
All right. So if Joe's going to go there, I'm going to take us.
No, don't take us any lower.
No, I just wanted to say the way my reaction is like when something happens.
Wait a minute. I was talking about surfboards. And anybody see my Facebook picture with Mike Griffin at the beach?
Yeah.
New York's a lonely town when you're the only surfer boy. You people got to get out of the gutter.
What, Rick?
It's sort of like you'll seem to be in one episode on the edge of a revelation, and rather than the next episode building on that, it's 2 or 3 episodes down that you get the revelation that they've set you up for. So
Lynch has been doing that for years now. Years.
Well, it reminds me of the old days when I used to watch Dark Shadows, when we had long, drawn-out plots where you made all your revelations. All the major stuff on Dark Shadows used to happen on Monday and Fridays when it was first on.
That's great. And one of the things I love Kelly. I really do. But I don't believe everything should propel the plot forward. I like curveballs. I like, we can't say what the whatevers. I like insane.
There's a scene in the first season of Twin Peaks where, and you guys will have to help me out with the characters. It's the trucker and the 2 high school kids, and they're out in the woods. You remember that scene?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, they're out in the woods. I think they're talking about a dope deal or something. I can't remember. It's been too long. And all of a sudden, they're looking one of the kids was looking into the woods, and maybe like 30 feet away in the absolute blackness of the woods, he sees a guy's face disappear behind a tree. The guy's been looking at him. Something like that. And it's never explained who this guy is, ever. And I do think things like that are so cool. But by and large, things need to make sense. But things like that are very cool to me.
I'd have to rewatch it, but it sounds like it was probably one of the mysterious woodmen they introduced in the movie.
Yeah.
Really?
They look like bearded homeless people.
I don't remember what he looked like.
I haven't been paying attention to what the general consensus of the series is. I know that my Facebook is full of mostly weird fiction writers, and the majority seem to be loving this. So I'm not sure what the general populace, the norms, are feeling about this show.
There is a minority that is still going WTF. You know, and these are, I think I've seen like 3 people say, I'm a big fan, but I don't really get this. And, you know, I'm not watching it, so I don't have an opinion.
Well, you know, there are things which are WTFs, but you eventually accept them. Like when I was a kid, I loved The Prisoner with Patrick McGowan.
Oh, yeah.
But it took me a long while to accept that final episode.
Yes. Yeah.
And interpret it properly.
Right. My
first reaction was, what the heck was that?
Yeah. Because you don't have enough of a cultural background to understand it at whatever age you're at.
Yeah.
And you know, I mean, all right, so I'll admit it. I didn't understand till like 3 years ago that the song Afternoon Delight was about sex.
Come on.
Wait, what?
It is? It is?
That was the number 7 down at the Chinese restaurant.
Yeah. But before I forget, so I went and saw Baby Driver with my son this weekend.
Which is excellent.
You saw it?
Yes.
Okay, so what's her name? Lily James, who
Oh, I
played
know where you're going with this and tying this into the Twin Peaks talk, right?
yes, who plays Deborah, who is a waitress at a coffee shop. I swear to God, she's channeling Shelley Johnson. She looks
Especially from the profile, she looks just like Donna, from Twin Peaks.
No, Shelley Johnson. Shelley.
Shelley? Oh, Shelley. Yes, you're right. Shelley. Yes.
Yeah. Oh my God! It's like I'm sitting there going, "Wait a minute! Is Lynch in this? Has Lynch seen this girl? Because she's a dead ringer for Shelley, and not only just in looks, but in mannerisms too. You know, she's got that sort of sway. I'm too good to be in this coffee shop, but I'm here because I've got to be. And I really expected her to pull, some 180 degree U-turn at the end and be more than she was. But it didn't happen. But anyway, yeah, she looks just like a character out of Twin Peaks.
Now tell us how Baby Driver is Lovecraftian, Pete.
Here's the funny thing. I knew you were going to say that. I even thought about it. I was like, can I explain how this is Lovecraftian? And the answer is no, it's not. There's nothing Lovecraftian about it. I will note that my cousin asked me if it was a good enough movie to take his kids to. And I was like,
kids.
Younger than mine.
What is what is Baby Driver about?
It's a crime movie, and it's directed by Edgar Wright, who did Shaun of the Dead and Scott Pilgrim and World's End. So it's an adult movie.
Yeah, there's no, and it's a good movie. It has nothing to do with Lovecraft. This is just a tangent that we go down every once in a while.
We've never gone down a tangent before, but just this once we're doing it.
You mean they're actually starting to make movies that have nothing to do with Lovecraft?
Well, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah.
Well, if we want to go on a tangent, do we want to have our Doctor Who discussion?
No, not till the end, because that discussion would be filled with spoilers.
Yes.
Okay.
There was a Lovecraftian, I guess you'd say, movie that was released in theaters. It's Alien Covenant. I don't know if you guys have talked about that one yet.
Oh God, I
heard it was terrible.
My wrist during that movie.
It was. I'm a big Alien and Predator universe type fan, and if I had to rate it as a fan, like a hardcore fan, it was a C+, and it was because of the plot points. It's like, where's this movie going to fit in? Like, I understand it comes after Prometheus, before Alien, but I'm not 100% sure, but it almost seems like the film, if it's not written to like counter correct itself, it might take Aliens out of canon, because it's just some weird stuff comes up later in the film and stuff. You're like, how the hell does that make sense? And so other than that, I mean, and then it tries to make a origin for the xenomorphs, which totally throws the Alien versus Predator films out of the window. And it's kind of, I don't know. I was disappointed, to be honest with it.
What was it you said to me, Pete? It made Prometheus look great?
Yeah,
that's what we said.
I think there's a couple fundamental problems with Covenant. First of all, there's thousands of people in cryo on this ship, right?
Yeah.
Okay. There's an accident with the ship. There's damage to the ship. Guess what? The people you wake up to fix the ship are not the same people you wake up to land and start your colony. I'm sorry. You don't need these people. They're the wrong people to wake up. And, by the way, when you discover that there's an alien transmission and that turns out to be human nearby and you want to go investigate it, you don't send those people either. You send a completely different set of people. Because you have them. They're there. Wake their asses up.
So logically, made no sense.
It's the Star Trek problem in that the bridge crew is the same as the away team.
Yeah.
Like, what? No.
I didn't hate Covenant. Now, full disclosure, I fell asleep very early on, and I woke up when the guns started shooting. And once everybody started shooting, it got really cool, I thought. But I thought it was better than Prometheus, and I thought it was
Wait a minute.
head and shoulders above Alien 3 and 4, to be honest.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I'm the one here with the reputation for falling asleep when the movie's on.
I just had a birthday, Joe, so.
Oh, right, all that stuff.
Here's the other thing that I hated about the movie.
Yeah.
We have environmental suits. We have them now. We're concerned about diseases coming over on planes. Apparently, this is not a problem when you visit an alien world, right?
That didn't make any sense. I had no idea why they did that.
If you're gonna watch these movies, I mean, to propel these stories forward, people have to make really stupid mistakes. Because if everybody did everything by the book, there would be no film.
Well,
you always say something like that. There's a way to
Roper Report. That's a very suspenseful movie.
Yeah.
People did things scientifically appropriately. I just thought Prometheus sucked so bad. I couldn't see myself watching another movie in this series.
Yeah.
When Matt's entire family is screaming that Prometheus sucks that bad, you gotta listen.
Yeah. And then Covenant just took 2 steps further down.
Well, having seen Prometheus, I thought it was a bad attempt to channel At the Mountains of Madness. Does Covenant reflect some other Lovecraft story?
Yeah,
No, not really.
No, but I don't know.
Okay, well, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say it totally takes the engineers or the space jockeys. It made them seem like almost gods in the first film, and then you see how weak they are, and it's like, why build them up to be so something else? And then you're just gonna in one scene, that's it, and it's like that. What the like? I just want to like talk to Ridley Scott and be like, do you even care about this? Like, because it seems like, to be honest, I know you guys said 3 and 4 were worse, but it's in a sense I'd rather have watched 3 and 4 than I watched Covenant. I was thinking like, oh yeah, okay, because originally Prometheus was not going to be an alien film. It was like a spiritual successor, and then everyone was all like, no, don't make, I guess there's a lot of fans that didn't like it, so he kind of like changed some stuff, put Wayland in there and all that stuff. And then Covenant, it was like, okay, the Xenomorphs, this is the first time he's done Xenomorphs since 79 and and then so all of a sudden he brings it in, and then you're like, I like David, don't get me wrong, David's the best character out of Prometheus and Covenant. It's just none of the other characters, none of the setting makes sense. If he doesn't like Aliens and Alien 3 and 4, just come out and say it and make your own. Like, every time they make a new Godzilla film, they start with the original, except for Shin Godzilla. They shot for the original, and then they make a new branch or something. Just do that then. But don't say like this is in the same timeline as this, because now it started. If Bishop, like, my whole thing is Bishop looks nothing like Wayland, but Bishop was like a android version of Wayland according to Alien 3. And it just gets too convoluted later down. So yeah. This is my guess. This movie is so bad we've already wasted too much time on it. Sorry.
Not you. I'm making a joke.
When Noomi Rapace chooses not to make your movie and goes and makes the movie I watched her in last week.
Which was what again?
Let me see if I can find it. It was awful.
Oh.
Filmography, film.
Well, we can table this discussion and come back to it when we've all seen Blade Runner 2049 next week.
Yeah, she's in a movie called Rupture.
All right, Matt suggested this question, and I think it's a good question.
See, Mike likes my questions.
I like everybody's questions equally,
but they're not good television.
Yes, but they're insightful.
It's like we're gonna go watch Meet the Press. It's good. It's insightful and intelligent, but it's just not good televition. Nobody watches.
Yeah, well,
I watch.
All we care about are ratings.
Wait a minute now.
Don't take apart Chuck Todd now. He's my hero.
What was the one with oh, wrong? Do you guys don't remember? It wasn't Meet the Press. It was it Face the Nation?
It was some debate. I don't know.
Yeah. All right. Anyway.
And that's as close to politics as I want to get on this show. So Matt's question was this: which panel or panels are you guys most looking forward to at NecronomiCon?
I want to start.
The list just came out. The panels just came out.
Can I start?
The thing
Yeah,
that
you can
I'm
start.
most interested in, and
All
it's
right.
not even scheduled yet, is the drive-in Lovecraft. Did you see that at the end?
Yeah, I did see that. That
There's
looks
this
cool.
guy named Alan Tromp, who's a lifelong Cthulhu fan, and he has a huge collection of film art from the 1950s to the 1980s from the U.S., England, Italy, and Thailand. He's got features such as the legendary Curse of Lamora, the Hunchback of the Morgue. He's going to show trailers from many of the 1970s movies with contests and audience participation. And I just think that presentation to me sounds like that's one of those, you'll only ever see this once. And when I go to NecronomiCon, I like to go things I'm never going to see or hear anywhere else again.
This is why you're not coming to any of my panels, right? Because
Exactly.
you have to put up with me every week.
There you go. I mean, I was hoping you could take it good without throwing me off the panel.
I didn't say that.
No, this seems to me like this is going to be one of those once in a lifetime presentations that we just have to see.
Yeah. Has anybody besides me seen Hunchback of the Morgue?
I doubt it. You've seen everything pretty much.
No, I not everything, but
What is this?
that basically is a Spanish horror movie, which is a Frankenstein story, except the mad scientist is creating a shuggot.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Is it any good?
Not really. It's uneven. It has some moments.
Joe, what do you want to talk about? Is one of your?
I don't want to talk about my favorite or the one I'm looking forward to most. I want to talk about the one that I'm crushed. Shirley Jackson. The one I want to go to the most.
Oh, I don't
And
even think she's going to be there, Joe.
Then I would go. But my dilemma is not that there's two panels I want to see at the same time, but at the same time of the Shirley Jackson panel, I'm on a panel, a different panel.
With Rick.
With Rick. Which will be great. It just...
What panel are we on?
King in Yellow.
Oh, they put us on the King in Yellow? Good.
Yeah. But I can't go to the Shirley Jackson. So I'm crushed. But I agree with Matt. That particular panel, I think, would be a lot of fun.
Rick's phone keeps
I
ringing. If anybody's wondering who.
I love that, to be honest. Every time I hear the phone ring throughout the years, I just get like this. It just makes me smile every time.
It's a feel-good ring.
It's
Yeah.
a pretty old style phone ring, right?
Yeah, it's like the bat. He's getting from the bat phone, you know.
Well, it is the bat phone. We can't show you that. It's top secret. You see how he's gone? You can't see him right now? Yeah.
So, yeah.
I was going to ask you, Pete.
I am faced with the exact same dilemma as Joe. I would love to see the Miskatonic University and the Mythos panel. Unfortunately, I am sharing or you're moderating a panel at the same time. And I don't know how I'm going to handle that. I might have to run between the rooms. But I think that they videotape these, right? So we can see them in retrospect.
They've done a pretty good job of that in
hoping.
the past, yes. They've done a good job of that in the past.
Well, I was also thinking for the King in Yellow panel, I'll just go in and I'll put scanned copies of all my King and Yellow books up, and then I'll go sit and watch the Shirley Jackson, and Rick can go, Joe edited this, and Joe edited that, and Joe edited this, and Joe wrote that, and blah blah blah, and it could be the Rick Live panel.
Listen, a more important note.
Actually, what I think we'll do for the King and Yellow panel is I think Rick will grow a beard and I'll shave.
Whoa. Dogs and cats living together.
Mass hysteria.
What,
Rick?
I would say, are the tickets for the prayer breakfast finally on sale?
I don't know. Matt would know.
What's that?
Or the prayer breakfast?
No. They just sent out a notification to people with like one of the key cards, just to make sure that they got their tickets, but they haven't gone for sale yet. You have to do I think the only way to do this is to watch the Eventbrite page once or twice a day till they go on sale. I don't have a better answer for you.
Or possibly their Facebook page too.
Right.
For those who don't know, who are listening and don't know, NecronomiCon is the Lovecraft convention. This year it's August 17th through the 20th in Providence, Rhode Island. And it's a hell of a great convention. It really, really is. So we've talked about what we're looking forward to or what we're mad about that we can't attend. What about the panels that you guys are going to be on? You guys want to say something briefly about those panels?
Okay.
Yeah, Joe.
I'm on the Legati panel with with Cisco and Matt Carden and John Padgett and Michael Kalia. So
Kurt Favre?
Unfortunately, he just announced on Facebook that he'll be unable to attend, which is heartbreaking.
That's too bad.
And he's crushed because he wanted to be on that panel in the worst way, which I can understand. And I'm on another. Oh, and I'm on the King and Yellow panel. I was going to say there's something else, but I can't think of what it is. But the Legati will be great. I'm just going to sit there and listen to John Padgett and Cisco and Matt Carden and smile. Maybe I'll wave or something.
You're on 2 panels?
Yeah, 2.
Okay. Pete, what about you?
I told Niels to use me until I dropped. So I'm on a panel called Writing Non-Stale Mythos Tales, Cthulhu and Noir, erotic Lovecraftiana, and then, hey,
Of course you are.
Yeah, of course I am. And Lovecraft in Context, which is the panel that I wanted to do with Rick, and they didn't put Rick on the panel. So, I'll have. Well, you know what, Rick? We should just sit down and write a couple articles,
right?
And then just,
What about let's have Joe be really evil? How many people are on that panel, Pete?
The Lovecraft
the one that Rick isn't on.
Yeah, Leslie
What if Rick just shows up?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Oh,
that's a lot.
Yeah.
It's
Klinger, Lafarge, Maraconda, Moreland, J.M. Rajala, who I don't know, and myself.
And that noir panel.
Yep.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought that in the description there was talk of Chester Himes and Jim Thompson and Hammett. I thought they were really focusing more on weird noir than Lovecraftian aspects. It's been a while since I saw anything listed.
It's the panel explores the bleak cosmic horror of man, as written by Himes, Thompson, and Chandler.
Oh, okay, all right, that's what I thought. Yeah. That'll be a great panel. I
want to try and catch that one if I can.
Yeah, we've talked about the merger of of why I think noir and mythos fit really well together.
Mhm.
And a lot of people have done it. I did it in Reanimatrix. I think we need to talk about it again in a public forum.
Yeah, I certainly. I mean, I thought about raising my hand to be on that panel because noir and weird fiction are perfect
Yes.
bedfellows. I've been doing that kind of stuff forever. It seems like.
Yeah, in many ways, I think of once I started thinking about this way, the Call of Cthulhu is a great noir tale.
Yeah. We have them everywhere. Look at Michael Shea. I mean, we could go on and on and on. But I was really thrilled. I can't wait to hear what people have to say about Himes. He just does not get anywhere near the level of respect or even being known that he should.
Yeah.
And Thompson's God one of the gods.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, you'll be able to just, even if you just looked at the noir crime stuff without the mythos overlap, there's that sense of bleakness.
Yeah. That it doesn't matter what you do, you're going to lose.
Right.
Right. You're doomed. I mean, that's why I always say my favorite noir film is A Sweet Smell of Success. It's like there is no hope. In a Lonely Place, the Bogey film, another perfect noir film.
Right.
So horror / weird fiction, perfect bedfellows. They go together seamlessly. And it doesn't matter whether you're going to do it hard like Elroy, or if you're going to take more a softer, more subtler approach. The spectrum is well covered.
Well, I don't want to hear one more word out of you about noir until you read When the Sacred Gem Closes.
I did. I told you I did.
Oh, you didn't? You didn't tell me that.
It was we talked about it ever so briefly. It's been a long time. You were having.
I'm getting up there, but I would remember that.
No, you were having one of those really bad weeks, and you were.
Oh, was I? Okay.
Your meds were. We'll call it a buffer zone.
You were zoned, Davis. You were zoned.
Great book. Thank you.
I'm genuinely pleased that you read it. It's one of my favorite books, When the Sacred Gin Mill Closes by Lawrence Block.
And one of the greatest titles, period.
Yeah.
And winner of the Edgar, I think.
Yeah, I think that's right.
I think I have like 5 copies.
You sent me. I'm very grateful to you, Pete, because you sent me a hardcover of that book, and I had a Kindle and I had a soft cover, but I did not have that really cool hardcover.
Really, it did not win the Edgar.
Oh, it didn't. He's won an Edgar for something, I think.
Yeah, it won the Falcon, and it was nominated for the Anthony and the Seamus.
Well, there you go. That just sums up awards, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I got a question for Joe. I'm looking at the panels, and the two where you got a confirmation that I was going to be on them.
Right, and they changed things because I was originally on the poetry panel too, but I'm no longer on that. They went through and changed things. So this listing is what we're currently on. I should suspect that they're getting, I'll say, requests from people. Can I get on this? Can I do that? Can I move?
They've got a request from me already because, well, let me say how hard of a job this is, and that they're doing a fantastic job. It's a lot of hard work. I think it's not only Niels, but Sam Gafford and S.J. Bagley, I believe. Do I have that right?
Yep.
Yeah,
those are the 3 I'm aware of.
Okay, and these guys are doing a fantastic job. They have me on 3 panels right now, and I already requested to be removed from one because it's games and technology, and I'm trying to think of a person less qualified to talk about Lovecraftian gaming than me, and I can't think of anybody. So, I'm probably not the right fit for that. But I'm also on. I don't know if you got around to all of yours, Pete, but we'll go back to you in a second if we didn't. I'm on. I'm moderating editing horror. Panelists are Ellen Datlow, Michael Kelly, Leslie Klinger, and Douglas E. Winter.
Right.
And then I'm on the Small Press and the Weird panel with Cody Goodfellow moderating, Derek Hussey, Dwayne Olson. I'm not even going to pronounce this name correctly. Dragana Drobnjak, something like that. Not somebody I know, but it's always nice to meet somebody new. But so those are the ones I'm on. And you can go. You can if you're going to NecronomiCon, you can look at the panel who's going to be on what and when at necronomicon-providence.com/programming. Necronomicon-providence.com/programming. So, did we get to all yours, Pete?
Yeah. The only thing I'm going to say is that if you want to see me Thursday, Friday, or Saturday. I leave Sunday morning at 6 a.m. for Orlando. So.
Well, how can you leave Sunday? I'm going to be on Small Press on the Weird Sunday morning. I know you don't want to miss it.
I don't want to miss it, but I have to. That is the last day for my son to check into college. So.
I'm just going to read what Kelly Young just wrote.
You son of a bitch.
All right, I'm not going to read it.
No, go ahead.
You read it. You read it.
I'll read it? Okay. All right.
No, Kelly read it.
Having blank moderate a panel is like having a blank, blank, blank moderate a
blank.
Blank.
I would like to see.
Mike.
I would like to see Cody Goodfellow moderating a panel. I'm not sure that Cody Goodfellow knows what the word moderate in any form means.
I hope they tape that panel. When I saw that, I thought, am I going to be talking at this panel?
Come on, Cody's a guest.
I may be not.
You know I love Cody. Above all others, I love Cody.
Oh my God.
He's
There's
not the
only
type
one.
to sit back and let other people talk about something.
I asked him one time at a NecronomiCon. I asked him on a panel. I asked him, "So what is Lovecraftian fiction?" And he just reeled off this 60-second long answer that was just brilliant and amazing. And when he was done, everybody in the audience clapped. And that simple question. Don't ask me to repeat what he said, because even if I heard it just now, I couldn't repeat it.
It's lost in the annals of time and space.
So, yeah.
And Cody will probably be conducting the prayer breakfast too.
Yeah.
I would assume that's all his now.
As long as he breaks out of his shell, he will be, yeah.
And you know, for a young kid, he's pretty good at doing that prayer breakfast.
Young kid, isn't he older than me?
Well, compared to some of us, that's a young kid.
I'll tell you guys a truth. Cody is younger than me.
Really?
What are you, 62?
61. Thank you very much. No, I'm 48. Cody is younger than I am.
What?
Wait, Cody's my age?
I'm just telling you what I know for a fact, you guys. I'm
I'm
not making any judgment. I didn't think anyone would be surprised to hear that.
Wait.
I'm amazed to hear this.
I'll just say this and get it out of everybody. Everybody else wants to say it. I'll say it.
I don't want to say it.
Drugs are bad.
That's not what I was thinking at all.
Well, and that's one thing to finish off Necronomicon. I got to send a letter because I'm only on the King in Yellow panel now.
It's not what I was thinking. I was thinking of the long white beard. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, sure you were.
Hey.
My comment still stands.
Poor Rick is trying to get us back on track, and we're just ignoring them.
Yeah.
Track? There's no track.
Originally, I was in Lovecraft in Context and Robert E. Howard, and now I'm only on King in Yellow. So at least I want to get on one of the panel.
Wait, why weren't you on the Robert E. Howard panel anymore?
I don't know.
I can't think of anybody more qualified. You might want to email those guys.
Yeah, but
and I know Jeff Shanks wouldn't have any problem or any.
Right. On the other hand, Rick, you can look at it this way: you're getting asked us the entire conference, and they're only asking you to work for 1 hour.
That's the way I look at it. The fewer panels I'm on, the more I can goof off.
Right, but I like to have two hours worth of work.
Yeah, I've got 2 hours worth of work, and for what they're, yeah.
Who should I send the email to?
Sam Gaffer.
Yeah, but now remember, this is just the core panel. There's still other stuff coming.
Oh.
Yeah. And one question I got, because we haven't talked about it, Mike.
Yeah.
Is, are we going to do another Lovecraft eZine live stream like we did last time?
Well, Niels is all for it. I just have to work out the details. I assume
that went over. I thought that went over great.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I was going to ask you guys if you're up for doing it.
Yeah.
I think
all
that's
we need
one
is a laptop and a decent internet connection.
And we get Joe to be. Joe is in his element when we do that.
Well,
yeah, I thought Joe did a good job moderating the live show last time.
I had you guys with me. Of course, I was having a blast. You were there, Rick. Mike was there. What could be more fun than that?
You were editor supreme.
No, man. I just was hanging out with my buddies, having a great time.
Well, that's
the one with when Ramsey Campbell was on with us too.
Yeah,
right?
We had Ramsey, and we kept calling him Jenny's little sidekick.
Yeah.
The kid she brought along to the
you
convention.
did.
Yep.
That's when Ramsey
I didn't call him that.
Criticized my pronunciation of Breechester, or however you say it.
Well, Ramsey and Jenny, they were absolutely lovely.
Oh, Ramsey's wonderful.
Yeah. No, I thought that panel was a gas. That was one of my highlights. So.
Well,
I mean, as far as I enjoyed it, not that anything else.
You know, you can say it was your favorite thing there. It's all right.
Yeah. No. But yeah, Gafford, Rick Gafford.
Okay.
Because you should be on that Howard. That screams to me.
Yeah.
I got a question.
Yeah, Evan.
So Rick and Pete are not going to do a panel?
No, they are.
They are.
The Lovecraft in Context panel. It looks like I'm on that panel, but Rick isn't, and the other two people that I thought would be on that panel aren't either. Mm-hmm. So I think that the four of us probably need to regroup and maybe put together write the stuff down, and see if we can publish it as an article.
Mm-hmm. I like to prepare like that too. About 5 minutes before the panel, I'll scribble some notes down.
Well, I was planning to do that anyway, but
yeah, but this is research that I've done for 6 to 8 months, and finally figured some stuff out. And Rick has done. Rick, you got nominated.
I've done research for 50 years, for crying out loud.
Yes.
He's got the research facility up in back of his glasses.
The alternative, Rick, is that we could get all four of us onto a Patreon discussion.
Okay, yeah, that would be good.
That would be
great.
I'll propose that, and that would be something we could do in private.
Yeah, that's all right. That's a cool idea, but
we still need to write it down.
For the rest of us who won't be there watching, we want the article.
Yep.
So we had this discussion about what you and Rick, the ideas you and Rick have. That needs to be something that's up on the Lovecraft eZine for everybody to read. That's too important not to be.
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
I'll give you the title of what my article will be. Lovecraft and the God of the Abyss.
There you go.
All right, so Kim Smeltzer is one of the live show viewers, and she says, does anybody know the answer to this question? Any chance of an appearance by a certain Willem Hopfrog Pugmire? Does anybody know if Willem's coming?
No, I doubt it because 2 years, at the last time that he came, he said he felt unwell the whole time. That's why he had that picnic at the graveyard at the St. John's Burying Ground. And he just really felt unwell. He says he just doesn't travel anymore. He's just going to stay home.
Yeah, I know he went to the film festival, Kelly, I believe, up in Portland, but that's relatively close to where Willem lives.
Yeah, he lives in Seattle, so he drives down or gets
because Willem can drive down with ST for that. That's
right.
not.
Plus, the last time he was
nowhere near as taxing for him.
Didn't he get mugged essentially? He's got his wallet stolen.
Someone broke into his
somebody broke into his room or something.
Yeah.
And he has some health issues that were really bad at that point.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're as bad right now, but he just had no energy to deal with anything. So it's probably asking too much. I wish he would go. I would love to see him there, but I'm probably asking too much.
All right, I'm just browsing quickly through, and then we can go on to the next topic, but the list of panels here, and the first one that strikes me that I think would be very interesting is Strange Far Places. Many of the locations in Lovecraft's work actually existed in our world. Sadly, some have since disappeared, but many, particularly in Providence, still remain. That seems interesting.
Yeah.
What else we got? Short film.
And Donovan Laux is an absolute expert. So, Will Murray.
Yeah, he is on that panel. Yes.
Miraconda. Those guys know that stuff the way we know how to spell our names. Well, most of us, not Kelly after a couple of bottles.
KLY Young. What's the problem?
Now, here's another one, writing non-stale mythos tales.
That panel's been done before.
Has it?
Yep, and I'll do it again.
R.H. Barlow, Lovecraft and Beyond.
I wonder...
No surprise that Paul Lafarge is going to be on that.
I wonder if this is simply because of that the Night Ocean.
I don't know, but
I wonder if that's why they're having this panel strictly on Barlow.
Well, I can see him doing Barlow plus with Lafarge's book and how popular it is and the critical acclaim it's getting. Makes sense.
Did you like that? Did you read that book, Matt?
No, when I read some of the descriptions of it, I thought, I have very little time for pleasure reading lately, and I don't want to spend my time slogging through that for something I'm predisposed to dislike.
What you're saying is, if I'm hearing you right, is you're being a grumpy old man.
Yeah, basically, I've got other things I'd rather read.
Yeah, that's exactly the way I am with some things too, so I'm not criticizing. Let's see if anything else jumps out at me. We have already mentioned this, Dark Crimes, the Weird in noir fiction.
That really, that could take up a whole day.
Yeah.
I wish they'd show some noir films and then discuss them.
Like Alligator People.
You and your alligator people. Jesus.
Alligator People, real noir.
That's just a crock.
Right. Why don't you bring up Alligator People on that panel, Pete?
Right, I will, because I actually think it works. It works in that genre.
Right in between Himes and Jim Thompson, slip in Alligator People. I'll be out there because I'll be in the audience with the Alligator People question.
In fact, here's a challenge for every writer listening to the sound of my voice. whatever story you're working on in the near future, slip in a reference to alligator people.
Yeah.
Just just in passing, and let's see if we can make Pete happy.
All right, so instead of alligator people, let's talk about Dark City. How about that?
Dark City is that sci-fi-ish movie?
Yes.
That's very long. I actually love that movie.
Yeah,
Yes.
That's a good one.
Yeah, we'll look at Franklin too. Kelly's
Franklin
giving
the
me the
Turtle?
look.
I like Franklin.
I do too.
You're not talking about Franklin the Turtle?
Franklin the film from 2010-ish, I think.
Something like that. Eva Green
And I think
was in it.
I think that's Franklin with a L-Y-N, if I remember
Yes,
correctly.
with a
So not
Y
Franklin
in.
the
Yes,
alligator.
exactly.
I killed the show.
No, you didn't.
Wait, now is this the one about? It says it's from 2008. Got Eva Green in it.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. Eva, yeah.
That's it.
I've not seen it. Tell me about it.
Well,
Eva,
get on it,
Joe's
son.
Joe's
Is it
into
like
Eva Green, isn't he?
Is it like Dark City?
Without
No.
the budget.
Yeah. but for a movie that doesn't have that kind of budget, it's a wonderful film.
All right. Probably won't too much longer, but here's a public post. I don't think there's anything wrong with quoting this because it's a public post by Daryl Schweitzer on Facebook, and it's a long post. I'm just going to quote part of it. He says, "My original comment: it is never worthwhile to campaign for awards at all. The only awards worth winning are those that you did not campaign for because someone else genuinely wished to honor you. The others are just expensive doorstops." Thoughts on that?
I'm sorry. Okay. Campaigning, like lobbying for an Oscar.
Lobbying. I don't mean sending your book out. I don't mean sending.
I agree.
And I don't think he means
lobbying. But if you're nominated for an award and you're excited to be nominated, there's absolutely nothing wrong saying that you're excited and you feel honored that you were nominated.
Oh, I'm not talking about that. I don't think he's talking about that.
Well, again, lobbying for an award, no, I'm opposed to that. But
I think we all see a lot of lobbying, though, which I think is why it's worthwhile to talk about.
Okay, yeah, and I think lobbying is wrong, but
okay, short discussion.
If it's not, but I think he's talking about just mentioning the stuff. I don't know that he's talking about only lobbying, because he's made this kind of post previously, and in the past I thought it was more of an umbrella, just you got nominated, shut up. If you win, good. If you don't, you don't.
I don't read that anywhere in here. If he said it, it wasn't here.
Okay. Well, I may have misunderstood but I agree about the act of lobbying.
I just think it's well, actually, I think Richard Schweitzer's point was different. That you may agree or disagree with lobbying, but his point was that something that you campaign for and get doesn't mean as much as just something that someone awarded you because they thought you were good.
Yeah.
Rather whether you agree with lobbying or not. That was, I think.
Well, if that's what it means, what you just said, Matt, I completely concur.
I think that's what.
Well, doesn't mean what to who, because once you've won the award and a year after, or 10 years after, no one's going to remember you campaigned for it.
No one's going to remember you won it.
That's true. That's also true.
A lot of times they're not even going to remember you won it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks, Joe.
No,
Yeah, no, they won't.
I don't
I mean-
get. I mean, who cares in the end? Who cares if you campaign for it? Who cares if you win it? And who cares if you were nominated or not or anything? This is all pretty, you know, none of this really matters, right? Especially at our level.
Nothing we talk about really matters.
no.
Good
but,
point. I gotta go, you guys.
But if you're nominated,
You want
for
us to talk about
something-
something that matters? I think you're on the wrong show.
Yeah, can't we get back to something that matters, like Doctor Who or something? Jesus Christ.
But
No.
if you're nominated for something,
If elected, I will not serve.
you know, whether it's something you edited or something you wrote, it's an opportunity to help promote that without lobbying.
I agree.
And whether it's Strange Eons or Lovecraft eZine or Reanimators or a book I edited or whatever, if we have a valid reason to be able to promote it, we should promote it. These are things that we're all putting our hearts and souls in, and we're proud of.
Agreed. And when it comes to self-promotion, I think there's a fine line, maybe not even that so fine, really, between valid self-promotion and never shutting up about your book.
Yeah.
You know, and we see both.
If I could jump in.
Yes.
Yeah, like I guess as a consumer, I mean I do write and stuff, but I'll probably never release anything I've ever written. But as a consumer, I don't really care about awards. Like I don't care because you know, you can maybe this is more true to film and maybe video games and stuff, but even something bad, you can find something good in it. So to be honest, like you know, even if something doesn't get an award, or if it does get an award, it's not going to automatically make me impressed or like I'm going to be like bowing down to an award. To me, an award's like good for the author, but as a consumer, I don't really see like if something says, "Oh, I won 8 Academy Awards," like I don't care about that. That has nothing to do with me.
Yeah,
So,
and that's the other thing I always think about whenever the subject of awards does come up is that I know that the readers, the consumers, don't really care. So they just want a good story, you know, and we've got to give that to them. Editors, publishers, writers. So, all right. Got anything else to talk about besides Kelly? I know really wants to talk about Doctor Who, so we'll get to that in a minute.
One more comment on awards. One thing, like I kind of have a note that I keep posting up and I keep adding to what Lovecraftian fiction has been nominated for major awards in genre fiction, as it were, if those things can even be considered major awards.
Mm-hmm.
And I just sort of view it as a way that this genre that I really like is getting out in front of a larger public than its little niche. And so in terms of award-winning fiction, the reason I'm interested in what is nominated for or won the Hugo or whatever, it's because that means this little bit of Lovecraftiana has been put in front of a larger public who may then come exploring with us.
That's a great point, Matt.
Of course.
Well, yeah, naturally you said it, but
I've completely changed my point of view now based on Matt's.
Good.
You had a point of view before he said something?
Well, I mean, my point of view on all of this stuff is like it's like jerking off into a ceiling fan.
Oh my god!
You're just getting back whatever.
That's
you put
some editing
out.
I'm gonna have to do later.
Wow!
Is this not an R-rated show today?
Apparently it is.
That's gonna be bleeped out in the.
Apparently it is an R-rated show today.
But that's what we're doing when we're lobbying for these awards, right? Especially at our level. You know, I can understand an Academy Award because a lot of people can benefit from that. But when we're lobbying, even for a This Is Horror award or something like that, which is fun to get for sure, It doesn't really matter. It's a cleaner version of what I said is what my dad used to tell me, which is winning an award is like wetting your pants when you're wearing a wool suit. You get a nice warm feeling, but nobody else notices.
Or as Bill Murray said in Meatballs, it just doesn't matter.
It just doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter.
I do have one more question. About what would you, as writers?
And Kelly will answer.
Even after all this, you're still here. Okay.
We've not. It's amazing that everything we've said, we've not answered any possible question that anyone could ever ask. But yeah.
As writers, what would you rather have though? Would you rather have an award, or would you have that 4.5 to 5-star rating like on Amazon? What Amazon?
Absolutely.
Readership.
Because that equates
line,
to the high reviews on Amazon equates to sales and readership.
Mm.
We want money rather than fame.
Exactly right.
Art for art's sake, money for God's sake.
It's sort of the old debate. Do you want to be Lovecraft or do you want to be Seabury Quinn?
Yeah, the World Fantasy Award will get in $1.50 won't get you a cup of coffee.
I mean, Lovecraft's famous now, but he's starved to death.
Oh, I know. Sad.
And Seabury Quinn, made some money. I wouldn't say he made a lot, but he was regularly published by Weird Tales in almost every issue. Even though it was repetitive and cliched, but I do like him. Joe.
We can tell.
No, but I just want to say, it was the old debate, do you write commercial fiction or do you write artistic fiction?
Hopefully it's some combination of both.
And there's nothing wrong with being a pulp writer in the true sense, because ultimately you have to make a living.
Yeah. All right, so we're now going to spend a few minutes on Doctor Who. So for those who don't want spoilers, especially since this is the very last, this is the series finale, this season's finale, I should say, series 10 finale. Feel free to leave, or thank you, Joe. Really appreciate that. You can leave too.
Y'all can leave. You kids get
Come on,
out.
for the 10% who watch, I want them to have a modicum of fun as well.
Well, let's say after we finish Doctor Who, there's something I want to say about Cthulhu Wars.
Cthulhu Wars? Okay. All right. So you've been warned. Spoilers follow for Doctor Who. I hated it. Couldn't stand it. I hated it.
The whole rest of the internet is crying.
I know. Mike Davis didn't like the finale. Right now, Stephen Moffat, is that his name? Moffat is going.
Mike Davis hated my show.
I liked it.
You'll never work in this town again.
I love the way they resolved the Master.
Yeah.
And if that's the last appearance of the Master, I would be happy.
So on that note, there is a dark horse theory that says that Missy was never the Master.
There's another theory that said that the Master being on this episode served no purpose whatsoever. I mean, what did he actually do?
Well, in theory, he created the Cybermen.
Yeah, but what did he do this episode?
This episode, yeah.
What has he done for us lately?
It resolved the plot line of Missy became the Master. Well, the Master became Missy, rather.
Right.
I mean, it's
put an end to the character, and I thought it was. I would have liked it.
My opinion is not the only valid opinion, obviously.
I would have liked it if she ended up fighting the Cybermen alongside the Doctor, which almost happened.
Right.
Well, for the first 20 to 25 minutes, for most of that, we were basically going over the fact that Bill is a Cyberman now, which we already knew.
Right.
I kept going like this. Okay, move it along. I know she's a Cyberman. Got it. Can we next scene? Yeah. And so I'm going along and I'm hating the whole thing, but I'm thinking it's going to redeem itself in the last 5 minutes because I'm going to get to see who the next Doctor Who is. and you don't.
Well, but you get to see the first Doctor.
Yeah, but I've already seen him.
Well, it started a half hour earlier than it normally does. So when I turned it on, it was a half hour into it. So I had to go back to my DVD-R and watch it from the beginning. And it was the last minute left. That's when the recording stopped.
Oh no.
I'm going, oh my God, do I have to watch the rerun of this to find out who the guy is at the end? And I said, no, we have reaction channels on YouTube. Just find one of them. They're going to show you what the ending is. And that's how I resolved that. So 5 minutes later.
I don't think that was bad at all. I thought that was actually great. But when you're expecting him to regenerate after an episode that you didn't really enjoy, it was sort of a letdown.
So, go ahead, Rick.
Well, I think what the Christmas special is going to do is going to be the first Doctor is going to convince the current Doctor that it's time to move on and accept the fact that he's going to die and regenerate into another Doctor.
Yeah. And I would not. So, did anybody notice that all the flashback scenes that they showed of previous companions were all women?
Yes, that was interesting.
And do you remember the episode with the haunted house?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that episode.
Bill calls him grandfather.
No, I'm thinking of a different. You mean this season?
Yeah, this season.
She calls him grandfather.
So you're thinking that his granddaughter's going to be popping up?
I have a little note written down that my daughter and I were watching the show, and I just honestly I think that the Doctor is going to regenerate into Bill.
I thought what happened with Bill, speaking of Bill, was kind of a cop out.
Well, right now
Clara all over again.
Well, so there are now four super powerful women traveling through time and space.
Maybe we should add a fifth. That's what you're saying, or maybe that's what Moffat's thinking.
Well, and the comment is made by the Master. Oh my God, does the future belong to women?
Yeah, and he's like, we can only hope.
Yeah. So, and if you can remember that the Doctor used to encounter other Time Lords besides the Master. And they all had really neat names. Besides Romana, there were a whole bunch of other characters. And they had neat names. And now Clara is what? The Impossible Girl. The woman she's traveling with is the girl that will not die. Bill is out going around with a character called the Pilot. It's sort of creating this whole universe of Time Lords all over again.
Well, I think it's getting if the Master and Missy are dead, it's time to bring back the Rainey.
Yes, and that's what I'm talking about.
It was Kate O'Mara, was a evil female Time Lord who went to the Academy the same time as the Master and the Doctor.
Yes.
So did you like the last episode, Pete? This last episode?
I thought it was a very human episode. And it does focus, you're right, it does focus a lot on Bill, being a Cyberman, which we've seen kind of before in another episode, or maybe in Torchwood, but it's sort of that they're creating this whole pathos for her that I don't think we've ever really done for any other character besides like Clara or Amy.
Well, it was like the first Clara episode before we learned that Clara was a recurring character.
Yes.
She turned out to be a Dalek.
Right.
But she was a souffle girl.
Right, souffle girl. Once again, catchy name.
But I liked it. I thought it was a human episode. The Doctor was faced that he had screwed up. He couldn't save Clara.
Or Bill.
I mean, Bill.
Yeah.
I meant Bill. And the other thing was, I liked the fact that the pilot came back because I wasn't expecting it. They hinted at it was the tier, so I don't think it was out of the blue. And they had actually set it up in the first episode.
Yes, and that's interesting because the Cyberman eye in all these episodes is round, and in it only when Bill cries do you get that little dip that comes in Cyberman eyes that you see in other episodes.
Mm-hmm.
So that glimmer of hope is that tear. And maybe I'm reading too much into it.
What do you want to say about Cthulhu Wars?
They're going to have an Onslaught 3 starting on July 17th. And besides all the goodies from the past that you may have wanted to buy but couldn't afford, you will get the Faces of Nyarlathotep, which will be a Horner of the Dark figure, a Pharaoh figure, and a Dark Demon from Robert Bloch. I think they're using something called the Bloated Woman, which is only in the Call of Cthulhu game.
Right. The Cult of the Bloated Woman. Yes.
There will also be a new map because in the game, you war on Earth and you war on other planets or other dimensions like the Dreamlands and Yuggoth. And when generally you're on another planet, there's another monster which is trying to kill you. Well, they're going to Shagai, and it's going to be the Rin Carter version of
Okay.
All right. If you want that copy of Lovecraft's Legacy, send an email to lovecraftezine@gmail.com. Put Lovecraft's Legacy in the subject, and in the body of the email, tell me how you listen to the show. Whether it's on the road or however. And if you want a copy of Whispers from the Abyss 2, that I'm going to randomly choose a Patreon this week and give it to one of them. So there we go. That's the 2 prizes. Do you have anything else before we sign off? Is that everything?
Well, I did see, and Pete, maybe you saw this at Baby Driver, the trailer in front of it for me was a new trailer for The Dark Tower.
I did see that.
And I thought to myself again that this movie looks really cool, even though it doesn't look anything like the Dark Tower book.
Isn't it supposed to be a sequel?
Well, yeah, but even so, if you've read the series, you know that he follows a certain number of events and he has to choose wisely when these events happen in order for him to level up, basically. And so for this to be a sequel, you'd have to see some of those important turning points, I think, in the film. And it doesn't feel like that's what is going to happen. It feels like they're tossing everything out and just keeping the very basic plot, I guess. But I thought this new trailer looked really cool, even though it looked even further away from any of the events that are happening in any of the books, quite honestly.
Maybe it's one of those in the spirit of things.
Yeah, and this is what I'm saying. I mean, I will give just about anything a chance because King's Dark Tower books are always going to be there. The movies aren't going to ruin them at all. And so, but the only part of me that blanches at this a bit is that if this doesn't work, we're not going to see another adaptation of the Dark Tower anytime soon.
Does the hero at least look like a gunslinger?
Well, yeah, he's wearing it's Idris Elba wearing a gunslinger's jacket, and he does a lot of very cool things with his gun in the trailer.
Yeah, but let's be clear that Idris Elba could walk through the door wearing a frock, and I'd be happy to see him.
Yeah, he is a cool looking guy, and so that doesn't matter. But this very much seems like a buddy movie between Roland and Jake, and they actually, at some point during the film head into our world. So it is not following anything that's going on in the original Gunslinger story.
All right. Well, I'm a fan of Stephen King's work, but I've never been able to get into the Dark Tower. Maybe I should try it again.
Yeah, I like the first one, which is very different from anything else in the series. And then I really like the second and third books. I like the first 4 books, to be honest, and then it gets a little wonky. But I'm a little surprised that you haven't gotten into it, Mike, and it might be because that first Gunslinger book does not feel like Stephen King. But once you get into Drawing of the Three, it feels very much like Stephen King.
And it ties into almost this whole universe.
Yeah, that's true.
Insomnia, the Black House.
Dr. Trips.
Yeah.
Hearts in Atlantis.
All right, I'll give it another try. I do have a copy here.
And From a Buick 8.
Yeah.
Good book.
Salem's Lot.
Eventually, Salem's Lot and the Talisman books.
All right, well, thanks, guys. Thanks, everybody, for listening. And we will be back next week with the guys from the Pseudopod podcast.
Cool.
So thanks, and we'll see you then.